Issues that are going to influence voter choice come December 7th. Some talked about education, unemployment, blooming businesses, infrastructure development. Kojo, this is where we are.
Indeed. Let's not forget roads. That also came up quite strongly. It's clear that in every constituency you will find unique and diverse problems. But one of the things that we do need to highlight is how parties are organizing themselves towards 2024. Right, and it's an important aspect of the conversation. We have two party representatives and one independent candidate representative here. Let's see what we can find out about things like funding.
And I like to say that the problems are the same. Therefore, when you look at all the manifestos, they're dealing with the same issues. Everybody's talking about education, infrastructure, the economy and all that. The approach, however, is where we have some key differences. So how do each political party or the independent candidates intend to fund these ambitious promises that they're giving the Ghanaian voting population? You want to start with Haruna?
You want to start with me? Okay. Thank you very much. I think that the NPP is a formidable party going into the 2024 general elections. When we came to power, what we saw was that pensioners, tier 2 people, tier 2 pensioners who were not being able to be paid. We had about 3.1 billion Ghana cedis debt in arrears that government could not pay, about 13 million in arrears owed to other peacekeeping personnel. Ghanaian citizens who had finished universities could not get job opportunities because of lack of policy credibility. There was no direction because the president at that time told us that he's not a magician to provide job for us. The minister responsible for a sector told them that they should go and gather stones and clear weeds. They will be able to get people to buy. There was clearly no direction and industries were growing.
How are you funding your promises?
I am saying this to build the foundation for people to get to understand that when we promise, we do. We told the people of Ghana that we need to build the human resource base of our country by introducing the free senior high school policy. We have done that. A lot more youth of this country got the opportunity to go to school. The cost barrier has been taken. In His Excellency, the Vice President's vision to govern this country when he's given that mandate. And mind you, the two of them, one has been president before to take the decisions, and he could not take those decisions and he could not govern and was dismissed. Dr. Bawumia's vision is that we are going to fund a lot more of projects in this country. And one of the strategies that he wants to use is to make sure that we bring in the private sector. We rope in the private sector. Whilst we rope in the private sector, you look at the contribution of the private sector to, let's say, infrastructure development and what have you. We are going to set 3% of contribution to GDP. That is our 30 billion, about 30 billion Ghana cedis, to the private sector to engage in building roads, building hospitals, building school infrastructure, just like the hostels that they have been building in the universities. And that will give government the opportunity for that particular gap that has been taken away will be used to create job opportunities, will also be used to creation of wealth. So the private sector will then be developed so that we enhance our country's development. The government of Dr. Bawumia is also looking at getting more people to pay taxes. And that is why we are incentivizing, we are putting incentives in the tax collection system. We are going to make sure that everybody comes on a clean sheet. And the percentage of people who pay taxes will double, quadruple in terms of how people will pay tax.
Are you saying the incentives will encourage more people to pay taxes? Will encourage
more people. When you are able to file your tax returns, all of us here are supposed to file tax returns. We don't do so. But if you are able to be given the opportunity to file tax returns, very easy filing of tax returns, government will then determine who and who is supposed to pay tax. If you file tax returns, doesn't mean that you are supposed to pay tax. You can file tax returns and you are not taxable. So government will now get the opportunity to know how many people are supposed to pay taxes. And we are clearly going to make sure that we are going to use those resources to enhance. If you look at our contribution, when we came, we clearly added over $20 billion US to the economy. We grew the economy by over 20 billion. As it was 56, we had about 76 billion as at the end of 2023. So it means that we can rake in more revenue. And Dr. Bawumia is coming in with another clear strategy to ensure that we are able to put more revenue and do some exemptions and give tax holidays and ensure that the private sector will be given the more opportunity to be able to set the space, bring in equipment, put infrastructure, either to lease them or to rent, build, operate, and transfer. So all these things is going to eat into what we have to do. And the NPP clearly is going to do something different when we are given the next opportunity.
This is one that I'd like to hear from you and perhaps the other panelists from the other, representing the other candidates as well. You talk about relying on the private sector to fund some of these projects that you have promised. Now, the private sector, business people are rational beings. They make decisions that are profitable to them. How do you intend, in fact, how can you promise people outcomes that are based on someone else's individual decision? Right? Because the private sector has to decide for themselves whether they want to do business with you, whether they want to come and build your road, whether they want to come and build your hospital. But you are promising the people of Ghana outcomes based on decisions that have not yet been made by individuals who have free will. How are you doing that?
You see, there is a mindset that we are taking out. We are taking out the mindset of impossibilities. You have just exhibited.
Oh, so you are working by faith.
We are working by mindset of possibilities.
So faith.
We are not
so you believe we have do it.
Yes, we believe we are going to do it.
Right. You haven't actually sat down.
We have talked to it. No, that's wrong. We have sat down. We have thought about it. When we were introducing the one district, one factory, we did not say government was going to do the construction, right? Government was going to give stimulus package to the private sector. Companies, and it is demand-driven.
And look at where we are today.
Yeah, but they have been able to come in and do a lot of them. That is why you see people come to say, this company was already existing, this company was that. The private sector has been supported to either expand or to increase productivity.
So what you've done is
that is why we are going to
have already made the decision to run a factory, and then you've gone to support them.
It's not just supporting them. It's looking at what exactly are you doing within the factory. I have worked in the private sector. I've worked with the private sector people for some time. I've done a lot of consultancy for them. You go into a company, maybe the company is operating at 20% because the company has a staff strength of 2. Then the company has an equipment that is obsolete. Then you come in to support the company, either to buy in an additional equipment or to be able to change the line of business of the company, so that the company can recruit more people, the company can be able to increase productivity, and the company will have to set the demand.
What you promised was that every district would have a factory.
And we have been able to get other private sector operators who have accepted that challenge, and that is a fact. Does
every district have a factory?
I am telling you that we have gotten private sector operators who have accepted that challenge.
Hear from our
that's why we have mindset of
Let's hear from our other panelists on how you are funding your promises. I'll start with you, Dr.
Very well, very well. You see, it is very clear that this country, we need to reset the country. You see, you can only reset the country and bring it back to prosperity. The path at which we are cruising, if we don't reset this country, we'll be in terrible business. One, corruption is our bane. The biggest challenge in Ghana development is corruption. It has destroyed the fiber of our development paradigm. It has destroyed everything. Look, let me tell you, the money they've sunk in that hole, known as cathedral, that money alone can take us away from these difficulties we are facing. That money in that hole. That's one aspect. Do you remember this issue of one village, one dam? You did some documentary on the dams. Have you seen any of the dams? Do you know the amount of money sunk into that? That one alone. That's why we have launched Operation Retrieve all these looted resources.
Is that how you're going to fund it?
I said, let's loot the looted one, let's take them first. And you'll see the amount of money that will come out from it.
That's how you intend
That's
to
one aspect. Promises. That's one aspect. This sole source. It's another window of which these people have corrupted the state to the extent that Look, people have opened bank accounts in their rooms.
John Mahama did soul sourcing as well.
I'm saying that on the hand side, if you had looked at all why are we resetting that? Why are we resetting the country development paradigm? Because after having looked at all this, why are we still going through? They spoke against soul sourcing. The NPP spoke heavily against soul sourcing. They came into office and every bit of contract they are doing is soul sourcing. Every aspect of their contract activity is soul sourcing.
So we probably shouldn't trust you when you speak against soul sourcing.
That is what I'm saying, that go and read the manifesto when we talk of resetting the development paradigm and resetting our own mindsets. That is why there is a need to vote for His Excellency John Dramani Mahama.
So how do you fund your
The funding is what I've given you an example that we are fighting corruption. If we fight corruption to its logical end and able to plug all these loopholes that is bleeding where the monies are going out, we are going to make a lot of resources in order to solve this. And for instance, when we talk of the issue of the first year university, free education for the first year universities, they were talking of asking us, how are we going to fund this thing? Haven't they capped get fund and collateralized get fund? Get fund was meant to support the infrastructure need of educational sector. But what have they done to get fund? As we speak now, get fund is on its knees. There's nothing in there. That is why they are running double track system, because they can't build anything. So we are saying that we'll deal with that aspect. When we are able to deal with the issue of capping get fund, and so that get fund can now come upstream, we'll get more resources from there in order to deal with the educational challenges that we are facing as well. That's another window.
So you will uncap funds. And you will take people to court, hope to win.
We will retrieve. That's why the aura.
And hope that after you win the case, you can retrieve money.
Look.
And then you will fund government projects.
Let me tell you.
Woyome hasn't finished paying his.
Look, let me tell you.
So is that really a realistic timeline?
I am saying we are not using that one. There is, go and read the aura, the principle of the aura. Operation Retrieve All Looted Funds. Some of them, you don't need even more than 48 hours to retrieve those monies.
Dr. It's a simple. You've made a lot of
somebody
promises,
has, you know. Look, I'm going to give you an example. $11.9 million paid to contractors who have not done any job for Palugu. Nothing. Just completely, just take the money, go and spend. And you are telling me I should take 1 year to prosecute such people to do this money.
That's how our laws work.
I'm saying the law too has a way. There is a way that the law also deals with that. It's an operation.
Dr. Abu Sakara.
There's an operation and we'll deal with those great issues and we'll retrieve all this money.
Transformational plan.
Thank you very much.
How is that getting funded?
Thank you very much. I think the first thing that we should say about the Great Transformational Plan is that it is a policy framework. It is not a manifesto. And we have put together a policy framework within which we've identified particular pillars and integrated them so that we have a comprehensive development process. In addition to that, we have identified the means by which we shall implement it and we shall fund it. Now, let me come back to the premise of it. We want to give this country an independent presidential candidate that is a credible alternative to the NPP and the NDC, in order for us to prosecute a reform agenda that will not only reset this country, it will restore us to a path of prosperity for all of us, not for a few of us at the expense of all of us, which is the path we have been on.
So you believe the country needs to be reset?
Oh, we created that word reset. Okay. If other people now believe it needs resetting, we are happy to. No, they didn't copy us.
Okay.
They didn't copy us.
They are coming on board.
Listen, ideas. You see.
Gentlemen, unfortunately, we do have to go.
No, I haven't finished.
Yeah.
I haven't finished. I haven't told you how we are going to do it. The first thing of how you do, you correct the economy, cut the waste, increase the income, the source of growth, and then set in place mechanisms to manage it properly. So we are going to ensure that we do cut all sources of waste by cutting the size of government. They are talking about 60 and 50. We are talking of not more than 40. That means that it could even be 30. After all, this country was run with less than 30 ministers before, and it was very efficient. We are not doing jobs for the boys.
The demands of the people at the time is different from the
efficiency.
demands that...
Efficiency is something else. You have countries which are bigger than ours, which are also running their governments with less people. They've turned their thing to jobs for the boys. Let's admit it. We're going to go away from that. And that is why we need reforms. If you do not reform, you cannot reset. And we've identified key areas in governance, our social structure, our politics, where we need to set fundamental reforms. That is really what we must do in this next dispensation.
Right.
For 32 years now, we've been at the same point spinning wheels. We must now go to adopt some fundamental reforms collectively. In fact, when our president comes to government, we shall employ the good NPP and NDC MPs. Because there's some good NPP and NDC MPs who have never seen the light of day because they tell the truth. And their parties don't like it.
Right.
We will bring them because we believe in Ghanaians and we believe in a unity government for all Ghanaians. Thank
Dr. Bossman, you have the final word.
Thank you very much for this opportunity. The Electoral Commission wishes to assure Ghanaians that we are fully ready for the 2024 general elections. As I indicated, recruitment has been done, procurement, almost about 95% of the items we need for the elections, we have procured them. The outstanding ones are the ballots, the notices of poll, which we'll be doing very shortly. So we want to assure them again that December 7th is almost there. We expect everybody to conduct him or herself very, very well. But the Commission is working towards a very peaceful, transparent, a very, very credible process. And we are working with all the political parties to ensure that we achieve another successful milestone. So that's our closing point.
Right. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
All our panelists, thanks very much for your time with us. We are not done, though. It's time for us to hear from you. So we're going to take a couple of minutes break, and when we come back, we'll tell you how you have been answering our poll about whether or not you're satisfied with the Electoral Commission's preparedness for these elections.